Welcome back to the Jungle Gardeners. Today we're going to do some harvesting of Chaya. It's spelled C-H-A-Y-A, not like chai, the tea. Chaya. This is also called the Mexican miracle bush or spinach tree, and it's a shrubby type thing. It grows as a nice privacy hedge if you want that. Very tropical plant. So if you're not in the tropics or subtropics, don't try to grow it. This is just for us who have to deal with the heat. So this is the time of year when it's really growing prolifically. It's growing like crazy. You have to keep up with it to harvest it, to be able to reach it, because it grows a couple feet a month and you're not going to be able to reach it to harvest it if you don't keep up pruning it. So we eat the leaves of this. They have to be boiled first before you can eat them. And they're really high in vitamin C, protein, iron, things like that. They're just toxic when they're raw. Don't let that scare you though. Just don't eat it when it's raw. Just make sure you cook it first. If you've ever had fried yucca, cassava, that is also toxic when raw, but you eat it just fine when it's cooked. So these leaves are edible, super duper healthy and nutritious. Boil them for 15 minutes and then you're good to eat them. I throw them in soups, I throw them in stews, boil them, then freeze them, use them for stir fries and things. And you can also drink the liquid that it's boiled in. You can use it as a broth for soups, or some people drink it as like a tea. I've heard some people say it cured their diabetes. Don't take medical advice from me, but that's just what somebody told me, random person. So we have this all throughout the yard, planted from cuttings very easily, literally snap off a branch, stick it in the ground, it will grow. And you do not need to water it, you do not need to fertilize it, don't even try. This thing is impossible to kill. If you do kill it, you know how I say that a lot of gardening, it isn't just skill, it's a lot of luck. If you do kill this, I'm going to change my statement. You don't have skill and you should not be gardening. You should not be trying to grow things if you kill this plant, because I have tried to kill it and failed. It takes over areas and won't die. You have to basically cut it down, rip out the roots, and bury it 6 feet under the ground in order to kill it. And even then, it still might grow. So if you kill it, you do honestly not have a green thumb. Even though I don't like to believe in the green thumb, if you kill this plant, you might indeed have a brown thumb. So it's a good plant to try. Stick it in the ground, and if you end up killing it, don't grow anything ever. Just stop. But super healthy, easy to grow. So I'm going to show you how we harvest it. If I find my stuff. Okay, so normally you should wear gloves when you're working with Chaya because the sap can be irritating. But I'm all out of gloves. I'm all out of gloves. So I am doing it barehanded, but you should not. So what we do, we need to cut these down because they're about to get too tall to harvest. So don't worry, they're gonna grow back so quickly from the pruning. I'm gonna cut it back to about waist height. Then what we're gonna take for harvesting is, so here's your youngest leaf. You go about 2 to 3 leaves down from that are what you're going to take and harvest. You can harvest all of them, but these two, after the first two, are the most nutritious. They have the highest nutrition. You can do more if you want, especially if you're just going to use them to make a broth. The rest of this is going to get buried very deep in my compost, because if I just drop this on the ground, it will grow. So don't just drop it on the ground. So we're just going to harvest, I'm going to harvest a bunch of these. I'm going to cook up a bunch of Chaya today. And I have to prune it, so whenever I prune it, I'm going to harvest. Maybe this one. Why not? you can see, I haven't even finished 2 plants, and I already have a pretty full bowl of leaves here. And we have probably well over 100 plants in the yard that I need to prune and collect from, so very prolific plant. I'm going to have no trouble getting plenty of food out of this. More than I need to eat. People are always afraid to ask for cuttings from me, but I've got this whole pile of cuttings that's going to go in my compost. It's really not anything for me to give people cuttings to start their own chaya. Really not. So to show you again, to refresh, you go from the growing point and then you go about 2 and 3 leaves down from that. You could even go 4. And this one has multiple growing points. There's another branch here. This is another growing point. So we could take like this leaf and this leaf. And I don't take, you can just snap them off or you can clip them off. I don't use the stem, so just break it off, leave the stem there. Still not done. Got a lot of leaves. And just to give you guys a quick idea of how tall this plant can get, right here, this is a chaya that's turning into a tree. It's taller than my bananas over there. Oh, it's probably 15 feet tall. I definitely can't harvest from that one, but it's just a monster that we haven't kept up with. It's probably the tallest chaya in the yard because it's the only one that survived Hurricane Ian a couple years ago. They all lived. This is the only one that did not get toppled. All the other ones got snapped in half by the hurricane and have been regrowing since then, but not this guy. That's still all of its original height from before Hurricane Ian. And here at the front of our house is an example of the privacy hedge we've made out of chaya. Literally just little 2-foot tall branches that we shoved in the ground a couple years ago, and they quickly filled in, and we've, again, Ian toppled these ones and we've cut them back a few times and they've just gone crazy. So these ones aren't so much for harvesting as a nice privacy hedge that we could harvest from if we wanted to. We can cut it back again. And yeah, it's a good spot to hide from people, but still be in your front yard. And it keeps it shady and cool. It's a really fast growing shade plant if you need one that you can also eat. Alright, I think that's it for today, gardeners. I could go a lot further. I've got a lot more chaya I could cut down, but we're on day 4 in a row of heat advisories because the heat index with the heat humidity has been like 110 every day, and it's pretty hot out, and I've already sweated a lot. I have a pretty full bowl of chaya here. I can do this again tomorrow. I can do it every day. Recently resigned my job, so I'll have full time soon to dedicate to this garden. And yeah, I have this huge pile of cuttings, giant pile of cuttings here. So really it's no trouble if you live in the Southwest Florida area, Lee County, Charlotte County, Collier County, hit me up, you know, and if you want some free cuttings of chaya, let me know. I can give you all that you want. It's really not a problem. Just send me a comment or a message or whatever, and I'll see if I can hook you up. So anyway, that's chaya. Very healthy plant, very prolific plant for the tropics only. Not for you people who don't live in the tropics, but you get fun things like asparagus, so calm down. But for us, this is our danger plant that's really not that dangerous. You just have to cook it, and I'll probably cook it into some lentil soup, throw it in with the lentil soup, let the broth get flavored with this. Super healthy dinner, super tasty. We'll enjoy it, and hopefully you will enjoy it too if you're brave enough to try it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and